go.
Looking all professional with your sound foam behind you.
We look like we're in a closet.
I like you guys are probably having more fun than I am. You guys, I like your setup.
I pay good money for these sound deflectors that look just like these.
I love it. I love it. How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing good.
How you doing?
Busy. Love it.
Yeah, you're putting out quite a few shows.
We are. We're rolling. We're rolling. We definitely. I even had a sweet gig, huge career, and kind of trying to push it off to the side to do more of this craziness that we do.
Yeah.
So, it's wild.
Yeah, I mean, you've had quite a few very big names.
Yeah, I keep on using this analogy. I need a new one. We're that Indiana Jones, that big ball in Temple of Doom. The ball just keeps rolling. We're going downhill. We got great momentum. You know, we're just throwing feelers out there and people are getting back to us. And it's cool that it's starting to work a little bit the other way. Back in the day, it was just me flooding everyone, trying to get people on. Now people are asking us to come on, which is awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. Because I've reached out to my vast network. I mean, since we've been on both coasts,
Right.
We spent most of our time in the 209 area, and so reached out to some of our friends over there. Had a few, and then using our friend base out here as well. And then
Right.
There's been a couple times I'm pressing send, on that one that I'm like, I think I'm reaching a little beyond my my lane on this one.
Oh, I've done hundreds of them, but you never know until you ask. You never get the pretty girl unless you ask her out on a date. And what's the worst that can happen? Through Instagram or through Facebook.
Out there.
Yeah, they say no.
Each one I send, I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable about just putting it out there, asking the question.
Right.
Most of them don't respond. Some do, but
yeah. And then the problem that I was having with a lot was it's just like a timing aspect of it. Time is very valuable. All the kids at the house too. So like my 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. it's family time, especially when I'm in town. Right. So if I've had numerous of pretty big UFC guys said that, I can do it tonight at 7. I go, no, I can't do it. After or before, maybe another day, and how that goes. If you got that fish on the line and it doesn't work that time, it's hard to get it back. So it is what it is.
So how did you kind of like get into all this?
Okay. So I was a young boy now. So how everything started, we started a podcast probably a couple years ago, 3-4 years ago. And the first direction how it got into with MMA was Pete White, 100% Pete White. My house and the gym is 3 minutes away. And Anderson Hutchinson, who is actually fighting this weekend, right? He was actually one of my best friends from high school, 20 years of friendship. They were friends. So like there was this weird triangle of, I know him through him, and we know Pete White through him. And it just worked out. It worked out really well. I think Pete's one of my best friends in the world, and I think he would say the same. We just have a great relationship very early. And then long story short, I don't want to get into the long part, I guess. The other podcast I used to do, you guys, I probably remember, I think we had Christian even on back then when it was Locked In Sports Podcast. It didn't go well at the end. Life moves on. And then Fight Bananas was born. And then Fight Bananas, it was ironic as well how life works. I was in Pensacola, Florida, the day that the, a bitter divorce happened of the podcast. And Dean's like, dude, like you're writing for Fight Bananas and you're kind of doing articles and stuff. Why don't we do a Fight Bananas podcast? And the rest is absolute history. And we just started and knocking on doors, shaking hands, kissing babies, and the rest is history.
Right.
Nice.
So
yeah, unfortunately, those those divorces always tend to,
Yeah.
it's a bittersweet in
Right.
most cases.
Right.
It's a what could have been, but it's over.
Yep.
But then because of that, usually either there's a motivation,
Yeah.
or at that point maybe there was a directional difference at that point, and now it's like, okay, well, now I'm free, I get to go explore these other avenues.
Yeah.
So
100% agree with you. Yeah, there's probably, I would say, no way, 0% chance way that I would even be at in this stage where I'm at now if that didn't happen. And it stinks that it did happen. And no one wants to go through a breakup, friends, significant other, any of it. No one does. But in a weird way, it got me to this point, which easily the most, outside of my family, the most fulfilling, happiest time of my life. It's just been incredible. Like I said, I slowed down a very financially rewarding career to do more of this. And
yeah.
I wouldn't look back. I'm as happy as I could be.
Nice. So with everything that you've done so far, what would you say, either interview wise or just even, because again, you just got done traveling.
Yep.
So either interview or just having been there in person, what are one of those things that just kind of stands out in your mind where you just kind of had to sit back and go, I can't believe I'm actually here, or I'm doing this?
Right. A couple of them. One, one it's probably maybe the same with youth with traveling. It's not even the event sometimes, or the night of the event is going out to dinners with 20 people, and I'm sitting at a table, and I'm like, I'm like, how did I get to this table? That's
Right.
pretty
Yeah.
wild. And I love stuff like that. I love making memories and kind of once in a lifetime. The probably number one is the Dean Tool promotion show last summer, Pensacola. And I like to go out, but I don't go out a lot, especially being a family man and all of that. But we go out after dinner, and I think we're in Dean's car, but there's another car, and in the car, in the front seat, there's George Masvidal. In the back seat, there's Anthony Pettis and like his best friend. Sergio's in the other car. And I'm like,
Oh, wow. Okay.
how am I in this car? Like, how am I
Yeah.
in this car? And we go out, and yeah, we have fun. Nothing wild, nothing crazy. But we went to a couple of different restaurants and bars. Anthony Pettis rode a bull, and he broke the bull's horns, and we laughed. And I have some incredible stories that are just, I was there. Like there's only those stories that I have. That was
Right.
probably my number one. But still to this day, even, I've probably done over 300 podcasts. I'm in like the 270s, 280s now of just of the Fight Bananas, of just the
Right. Yeah.
MMA ones. It's really cool. One thing I try to work on, I'm going through a rabbit hole right now, I'm sorry, is I really wanted to build a platform or a brand, if you want to say. I did quotation marks. I don't know if that's going to be on TV or not. But we have a betting podcast underneath us. We have a professional wrestling one. We got a boxing one. We have bare knuckle one. I really wanted to kind of build a little brand that it's like you hear Fight Bananas. It's not just Dave VanAuken talking to one guest.
Right.
It's this multiple conglomerate of combat sports, of just stories and fight breakdowns and professional wrestling highlights, whatever it is, that's what I wanted. But what I was getting at, I still get giddy. I just got off the Zoom with a LFA strawweight champion, Justin Gonzalez. He's 11-0. He's not in the UFC. He's not the biggest name. But 2 minutes before, I had my hair was standing on my arm. I'm still excited to talk with him as Laura Sanko or Malky or Roy Jones Jr., Calvin Cater. It doesn't matter. It's every single one I get that up for.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, do you train?
Before COVID, a little, I would not say I train. I love it. John Rafford, who is my guy, is my brother. I would definitely Saturday mornings, even when before the twins were born, even my wife would go in there and just to have fun. You know, the kids
Right.
love it. They love running in the boxing ring, so I'm wrestling with them. I think I will in the future for sure. I think when the kids get older and I don't have to carry them both or feed them all at the same time, I
Right.
think I will definitely will, but I don't train now.
Okay.
Well, it's what we were kind of talking about this not that long ago about, you hear these people that they throw stuff out there about, can somebody do this if they don't do this? It's like
Right.
knowledge is this weird fickle thing. So you have some people that are amazing fighters, but they do not follow the sport.
Right.
They
Oh,
don't, but
yeah.
they're amazing fighters. You have other people who are amazing fighters and or coaches, and they 100% follow the sport. They know
Right.
every in and out and everything else. They're rare. They're actually more the really rare ones. Then
Agreed.
you have the other side. You have the people that, like, I used to be in the beginning when the UFC first hit the scene. I was like the rabid guy in my area. I mean, I was studying tapes. I was keeping stats, things
Yeah.
of that nature. I could recall, I mean, every little nuance of every fight. Now, I was doing it for a bunch of reasons. One, super dug it.
Yeah.
Two, I'm trying to get techniques off of as I'm watching the fights, I'm breaking it down, trying to learn how to do the techniques. But I
Right.
was like that guy that, and it was just because that passion, of going way beyond just watching the event. I mean, there's people right now, was it Fight Metrics and a couple others, man. They literally break down every little nuance
Sure.
of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Leg
It's
kick, calf
fantastic.
kick. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
with
I
that
mean,
being said, like probably my everyone I guess has those weird off-end talents. Some people can juggle, some people can hold their breath really really long. Probably my greatest talent, and I always brag to my wife about this and whoever who wants to hear it, is I think I'm really really good on seeing talent. Like in any sport, I remember back in the day, 18 years old, seeing a baseball or basketball player, I'm like, oh, that guy's going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. I do it with fighting too, even with the amateurs or regional scenes, even up to the UFC. And throwing this out there, and maybe this one's super easy, but I remember seeing John Jones's first fight versus Stephan Bonner and go, he is going to be something like that. That's
right.
different from what we usually see. And I love it. And it's so funny. We just had this talk. Big things are probably happening with the podcast, and we're super happy and lucky and blessed. But
Right.
at the end of the day, I told someone I will never, ever leave the regional scene. I will never not want to not talk to, just Chris Mixons
Right.
and
Yeah.
uh, your girl there. That's Naomi Young, who's there. I will always want to talk to them. I love that more than probably even talking to Calvin Cater and Felicia
Yeah.
Spencer, who are the best and the best. And I think I'm so good of seeing talent, borderline amateur professional, like, oh, they're going to make it. They might not. Why they're going to make it. And so so far I'm pretty good at it. Even a year ago, two names I threw out there was Impa Kasanganai and Sherrard Blackledge. Impa just got the UFC contract last night. Sherrard Blackledge is going to get it in 4 weeks.
Nice.
It's weird. It's just one of my great sprinkle dust talents.
Now, speaking of John Jones, though, see, I was the exact opposite. Way, way, way back in the day, the Sherdog forums used to be the spot. They
Right.
had their radio program, and then they had their forums.
This was pre-Facebook,
And
all that.
so John Jones had just got his. I think he just got the title.
Okay.
Maybe it was just a hair after. And I wrote an opinion piece. I mean, man, it was a long one that I put on there. And I basically just said, there's something about his persona that tells me that the other side of the coin is coming. And it was shortly then after he gets stripped, runs into
Right.
all of his problems and issues, and
Right.
and I got blasted on the Sure Dog forums when I
Oh yeah.
first wrote that piece. Man, I got lit up so badly, and ultimately, the gist of my article that I kind of wrote in there, the opinion piece, was basically just saying that one, as a fan, he was so talented
Yeah.
that I became disinterested. Kind of like the old days when Mike Tyson was fighting. In the beginning, it was like, you get the Mike Tyson pay-per-view? Yes, I'm getting it.
Right.
But then toward the end, you're like, I'll just watch the highlights. I'm not going to drop that kind of money for a 10-second fight.
Right.
It
Right.
didn't say that he didn't have huge talent.
Sure.
I just, I was like, to me, the outcomes almost seemed so predetermined that the fight just didn't excite me. And that
Right.
was kind of the point of that piece that I wrote. But then I just kind of, I don't know why, but there were some pieces I put in there that basically alluded that I kind of felt that because he was so talented, that there were going to be other aspects of his career that would overshadow his accomplishments.
Right.
And oh my God, the flood that I got hit with.
You kind of nailed that one. You kind of nailed that one.
Blasted.
Wow. Yeah. You mentioned Tyson. The two funny things probably in the last 6 months that I've thrown out there that I think we've absolutely nailed was, when this whole Mike Tyson threw up a 20-second video 5 months ago, and everyone's like, he's coming back, and and I get it. I'm gonna get it. To see Mike Tyson one last time, or you haven't seen him in 15 years, whatever it's been. And all these names were thrown out there. All these, Evander Holyfield and, other names, and Shannon Briggs was thrown out there a lot. And I'm like, to me, in now 2020, a lot of UFC and MMA is doing all these super fights. And we do have close ties. I was like, to me, it would make perfect sense a Roy Jones Jr. fight. Like, it just, we wouldn't have seen that fight 15 years. It's like Canelo versus Tyson Fury. Like, it doesn't click right now, but maybe 10, 15 years it would. And we threw that article out literally in May, pre-COVID, I think, we threw it out there, and, that was probably easily our number one. And then I think 6 weeks ago or even a month ago, I threw out, as soon as Paige Van Zant lost Fight Island, I threw out the bare knuckle FC idea. Right. And rumor, and it just kind of works with money and look, and her company FRM, her management, it just kind of meshed. And I just, I do like that. I can ask the same questions or the same things, but I like theories and out of the box and lists and different things. And I was like, I can foresee that happening. And it looks like it's going to happen. Like, every tea leaf, it's falling that way. That's another one that I think we maybe nailed. So it is fun to predict. I've swung and missed plenty of times, but it's good to hit them.
How crazy is the fight game right now, though? I mean, who would have predicted? I mean, birth of MMA was bare knuckled, and human cockfighting, all that stuff. Who would have? I mean, if somebody told me 10 years ago that today bare knuckle boxing would be coming back into popularity, and things of that nature, I would have been like, no, that's too close to the so-called dark ages of MMA, when it was being banned and illegal and things of that nature. It's growing and seems to be thriving. The amount of avenues that athletes have right now is amazing.
I love it. I think it's incredible. I would have, even me, I remember going to Blockbuster, I guess that ages myself, and going to pick up the greatest knockouts of the year for UFC, or Ken Shamrock versus Tito Ortiz heated rivalry. I remember seeing that box. I'm like, oh, I'm getting that. I can't wait. I'm so happy. Like, it's incredible. Just, I still think I am still a fan. Like, I just am. Like, and I think that's why I think it works a little bit. My excitement and just pure still happiness and joy is not out of it at all, and I just still love it. I love UFC Fight Pass, how there's so many events across the world on all the time, especially, with post-pandemic. The UFC, what they're doing. Like, I'm not that person. I'm not that anti. As soon as someone, like when the rock band gets super popular, I don't dislike them when they do. I think that's great. Hopefully they can make money for them and their families and put out more music. Like I love the UFC. I'm pro UFC, and what they've been doing shows every week. Sometimes on those Wednesday shows are fantastic. The kids go to bed and I get to watch fights at 10 o'clock. Nothing better. It's incredible. I think might be the greatest time ever in combat sports history for middle class America. It's so easy, accessible now with streaming and TVs, and I'm watching it on my phone. It's amazing. I'm beyond excited for what's going to happen in the future as well.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's one of the interesting parts is, I mean, the combat sports itself lost favor for a brief moment. I mean, boxing was the closest that,
right.
Mainly heavyweight divisions. I mean, we're talking back in the day, historically speaking, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Mike Tyson, typically the heavyweights dominated the landscape of the big names. And then sprinkle in, the
Sugar Ray or
Sugar Ray
Oscar.
Leonards and kind of sprinkle those in. But we when we were first watching the UFC, my grandmother at the time period, she was probably in her 80s.
Oh,
yeah. And she's like, "What's this?" We're like, "Well, this is mixed martial arts." She goes, "Oh, can I watch?" We're like, "Yeah, sure. Come on over, Gigi. You can come over. We'll give you a seat." She starts telling us stories about how when she was younger, that was Friday and Saturday night. That was a big deal for the family. Put your best suits on, put your best clothing on, and they were going to go watch boxing. They were going to go watch a fight. And then, like I said, it kind of lost favor, and it seems like, it's not quite put on your best clothes, but it has definitely come to a much bigger place in the world right now. I mean,
definitely more middle stream. I know you ready for this one. This can be a 2-hour long avenue right here. I think a huge reason why is how successful and popular female MMA is. With Ronda Rousey, and people can kind of bag on her as well. I'm a huge Ronda, what she did for Jillian Robertson and what she's done for Naomi Young and what she's done for Taylor White and what she's done for everyone else underneath. I think it's very easy to watch. My wife gets into it. My wife loves Hannah Goldie. They're great friends. So anytime Hannah's going to fight or about to fight, she's all about it. And, then she starts getting favorites. Probably my favorite fighter in the game right now, female-wise, is definitely Rose Namajunas. I cannot miss a Rose fight. Everything about her. And it's pretty easy for someone who's been married a long time. If your wife is, oh yeah, we can watch that, we can do that. It's very easy to do it. You got to pick and choose your battles. And if she's a part of it and she wants to, it makes the whole process a lot easier.
Right. See, now I respected Ronda for having been that first champ.
Right.
But like we were there at the Gina Carano Chris Cyborg fight.
The first headline women's.
And we were like, obviously we back to the very, very beginning. And so we were there going, how amazing is this? This is the first time. There's been other organizations that have had female fighters and the like, but we're like, this is the first time a female is headlining a major card on a major broadcast. And so we made sure we were at that event, got a chance to watch that fight and everything else. Then there's the classic, Dana White. I don't want to see women fight. They'll never fight in the UFC and the like. Now, here's my personal take on that. He was already in negotiations with Strikeforce to purchase them. And if you look through Dana White's history, he downplays whatever he wants the most.
Of course. So, it's the negotiation tactic, it's
yes.
I do that with my wife. Babe, I don't want ice cream tonight after dinner. I don't want that.
But yeah, we were salivating when when that match was announced, we were like, holy crap. One, Cyborg was and still is, a force to be reckoned with.
Pretty incredible, right?
Unfortunately, I think it was shortly after that fight that she got stripped of the title. I think it was for PEDs. So unfortunately, there was a little bit through there that kind of tainted that event. And maybe that's one of the reasons why it didn't get catapulted higher up into the history of women's MMA.
Right. And Gina's a huge star. I know she's on that Star Wars show on Disney Plus. We're big Disney Plus people. She's a huge star. Imagine, I don't know how the missed opportunity or, hey, sometimes people just don't want to do it. And I respect and love that as well. But imagine if Gina had the UFC behind her. To me, I love Ronda. We just talked about, I think Gina is more respected probably by the diehards a little bit, and probably even a little bit more loved. And especially if she had the train behind her, she could have easily been the biggest superstar in mixed martial arts history, I think.
Well, I think the biggest part for many other fighters, the Ultimate Fighter helped catapult their career.
Sure.
I think for Ronda did the opposite. I think she was already on an incredible rise.
Right.
And a lot of people got turned off by her sportsmanship against Misha in that show. And so I think for Ronda, I think for her, I think the Ultimate Fighter almost pulled her back a little bit and kind of put a little tarnish on her career. Not because of, just a public perception. People going, wait a minute. I mean, when she's flipping off Misha and things of that nature, most people, like I said, as soon as the Ultimate Fighter hit, boom, their careers just skyrocket.
Right.
Her career had already gone on that upward trajectory, and I think that was the first one that leveled her off.
Right. It was too much access of kind of who she is in a way, and there's been plenty of people of Conor McGregor or Colby Covington or even kind of Masvidal is doing a little bit, but he's a little bit more happier about it. The bad guy does work. Chael Sonnen, he works
100%
in mixed martial arts.
Fun bad guys though.
Chael, to me, he's the man. I listen to his podcast twice a week. He's just the funniest. He's a little bit sarcastic. Ronda was a little bit too bullyish. And also, too, I think what always, anything in life, she had kind of a boss, or she was shooting down or picking down, or that's always dissatisfying to the consumer. I think always.
And it felt personal. It felt very personal.
Yeah.
When you got Chael.
Chael's an equal opportunity crap talker.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Race. Gender, it doesn't matter.
He crossed the line. Just when he was chasing Anderson. When he was chasing Silva, it got a little bit over the line on that one. Conor did the same thing.
Yeah.
Most of their bad guy persona, their trash talk, was more. It felt like we're selling the fight.
Yeah.
And we're just talking shit.
Right.
But then again, I mean, there's a couple time periods when it just edges over the line. The antics become a little bit much. The bus for Conor,
definitely.
Was definitely an interesting one. Although I think orchestrated. I don't think it was intended that people were going to get injured.
Sure.
But.
Sure.
I do think it was orchestrated as a publicity stunt that went bad.
Yeah. They usually do, they usually do. And so funny, kind of on this topic, I had this conversation with a couple of my buddies who we just watch fights with and talk about. And I kind of almost a question towards you guys with seeing so much and kind of seeing so many of the fighters and the evolution of the sport. Like, my favorites, I was such a Tito Ortiz guy, and then with Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor, and kind of my favorite probably right now is Masvidal. Like, I love the over the top, huge personality people,
Right.
or I maybe used to. Now, maybe with the family and maybe being more into it and talking to agents and talking to more people behind the scenes, I'm starting to really, really, really love Calvin Cater's,
Yes.
Felicia Spencer's, Rose Namajunas, just like a little bit more.
Well, but that's the part though. This whole thing is cyclical. We see it in pro wrestling.
Yeah,
The heels had their time, and now it's swinging towards the baby faces because you can only have so many heels active at
right,
one time, and then it becomes oversaturation, and then in order to stand out and be different, you have to go the other way. You
right.
have to be the polite martial artist, the respectful martial artist. That will become the way for a while,
Yeah,
and then another Conor McGregor will step in, and the market.
And we've seen it kind of swing that way all along.
yeah.
You had like the Diaz brothers, and then you came
GSP.
into, oh, why am I brain farting? GSP, the cruddy guy.
Machida.
Machida, yeah.
Yeah,
You got Machida and
Yeah.
GSP who come from that traditional martial arts
Right.
background that have that respect and everything. So you kind of see this whole.
Well, but you need
yeah.
the opposite to be able to play off of each other. It just
Right.
becomes noise when
Yeah.
you have
Just that
two
one
people,
side.
and when that becomes status quo, you stop listening.
Yeah. Man, I love all these wrestling terms. You're gonna give me the hot tag. I'm gonna rise.
See,
All this stuff.
Like, I'll be honest, I hated in the beginning, Connor. I was like, oh my God, this is exciting. This is, new energy, things of that nature. But then his press conferences just became all antics
Right.
and no content.
Right.
And then I was like, I'm not even interested, because all he's going to do is grab the mic, talk over everybody else, and that's it.
I still have to say my favorite press conference moment was Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor.
Oh yeah, to this day, that's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah,
Touch butt in the park.
Yeah.
Your everyone's on steroids. How about this? My team beat your team's ass.
There's some good ones. He's like
throwing his coffee.
I mean, that
you can get in those YouTube holes. You put up, anyone that's listening after this, you put up Conor McGregor press conference, and then you just kind of get stuck, zoomed into it for hours. There's definitely been good ones, but yeah, I don't know. It's just you're probably right. And maybe it's a personal preference, or maybe it is. Maybe I can't wait until I get the Joker heel into this awesome bad guy to get me back. But right now, I'm just so into Daniel Hooker and Poirier's, and I just like a little bit more quiet because there's so much mixed martial arts out there, and there's so many fights. And when you see a Poirier versus Hooker, very respectful, very kind of positive, and see 25 minutes of just a masterful artwork be done, I'm like, I'm in. Like, there's so much to watch. It's kind of like you got to pick and choose. I'm into this one.
Right. Well, and that's the part. I mean, I've always loved. I am a traditional martial artist. I know there's people out there that bash on traditional martial arts and the like, but I'll tell people, like I told all the time, don't shit on the plate you eat from, son. Those traditional martial arts became the foundation from which the UFC stood and was created.
Right.
You got guys that stepped in, they stepped up when there was no money to be made and no fame to be generated. They were legitimately wanting to test themselves and the styles that they professed. They fought for completely different reasons. I mean, these were people that trained because they trained. That's it.
Yeah.
Right now, you do get some people that are martial artists that step into MMA, and you get some people who are legitimately just coming in. They're going to give it their best for 5 or 10 years, and then they're going to be gone. They probably won't train anymore after that. They'll, you have some boxers that do the same thing. They're in it to see how far their career can go, but they don't really care about boxing.
Right.
it's just at that point, it's about fighting and just seeing what they can do.
Yeah.
But
Any
I mean,
profession.
I'm a traditional martial artist, so I tended to gravitate towards the GSPs,
Right.
you know, the
Machida.
Machidas, to those guys that held a more respectful line. But I always did love a Chael Sonnen
Yeah. Yeah.
when he came
Yeah.
out, when he would pump that fight. I mean, that was, but again, you can only have so many. And unfortunately, when Connor showed that you can make a lot of money by selling the fights of that nature, and everybody started trying to copy. And like I said, then it just became noise. It just became noise. I mean,
Question for you guys. So 2-part question here. First one, what's your guys' favorite knockout ever?
my favorite knockout,
Yep.
all-time favorite, Scott Smith.
Okay. Loved it. Great one. You muted me. Okay.
We're amateurs at this. My all-time favorite, Scott Smith versus Drago.
Yep.
So,
The comeback.
that to me, holy crap! Even just watching it. Actually, I just watched it, just the finish,
Yeah.
probably about 2 days ago. To me, I mean, the story that goes just behind it, Scott Smith getting cracked with that body shot. Can't tell rib or liver, but it hurts him.
Oh yeah.
And it looks like he's crumbling. Drago comes in for the finish, and Scott Smith just explodes on him.
Yeah.
I think mine was Ronda Rousey getting knocked out by
Holly Holm.
Yeah.
Yep. So with that being said,
such an upset.
with that being said, when I'm teaching my oldest son how to ride a bicycle, and I'm teaching him how to ride the bike, and I push him, and he's getting pretty good at it, but he gets close to some things, and I'm stressing out. I think I got more gray hair teaching my son how to ride a bicycle than anything else in life. How do you guys walk Christian to the cage, go on to Island Fights, Dana White Contender Series, and that knockout is a possibility? It's probably not it's a 1% or a less than 1% possibility. I would be so nervous. Are you guys nervous, or do you guys feel super confident because of the skills your son does have, and your son is a great mixed martial artist?
Well, I think one of the things that helps, probably the easiest way to, Christian was a blue belt. So those who are listening, Christian's now a black belt, 25 years old. He was a blue belt, and I can't remember, still in high school?
I think it's 17.
Yeah, maybe. So we go to this tournament. So he's still technically a juvenile, and he goes into the tournament. And Christian is an avid competitor. So we're at the tournament, and we hear over the PA system that they're looking for somebody. There's a super heavy that does not have a matchup, and so they're just looking for somebody to fill in so the guy can have a division. Christian's literally on the mat in a match, turns to me and goes, "Dad, I want that."
In the middle of a match.
In the middle match. So as soon as he comes off, I tell him, okay, go tell the promoter that you'll take the match. Now at the time period, Christian's only weighing Christian fights at 155. He's maybe at this time weighing about 145, maybe 150.
Right.
And so he goes over, tells the guy that he wants to take it. And the guy he's supposed to be matched up with is about 260 and former wrestler, things of that nature, and probably in his mid-30s. So Christian goes over, accepts gets the match. I'm not there. He's still in his division. I'm just there to make sure if he gets called up. So now I'm hearing for Christian's coach to be called over to that mat. And so I come walking over, and I go to the guy running the tournament. And he goes, "Hey," "your son is interested in taking the match." He goes, "But this guy's like twice his size."
Right.
He's like, "Hey, do you have any issues?" And so I looked at the guy, and I looked at Christian, and I looked at his opponent. I go, hey, it'll be fine. The guy's like, are you sure? And I go, I'm his training partner. Like, he deals with guys his size all the time.
Right.
It's not going to be an issue. And then Christian goes out, and I think,
Armbar.
like an arm bar in like 30 seconds, in the match. And
Grab it in the lobby.
now, to be honest, though, I think if it wasn't for the fact that Christian and I train so much together, I mean, to say I don't have nerves when we go to the ring or cage, I mean, that's a lie. I mean, I have nerves for every athlete that I walk out there with, whether I've trained them or not. Even
Right.
when I cornered Noah Cutter.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't train him. Anything
Yeah.
else, he needed help that day.
Yeah.
I felt nervous walking to the ring for him on there, but it is different with Christian. But I think the fact that he grew up watching me get my nose smashed and my full contact matches and grappling matches and things of that nature, I think the fact that we've both made that walk with each other to different levels. I mean, I never fought, officially MMA, but Christian's been with me, multiple times, making the, or hell, he was young, watching my nose explode and spray blood all over the floor, and he's yelling, "Dad needs a Band-Aid," when he's like 3 years old or 4 years old. So I think that does help.
Yeah, no, I get nervous as hell, but we know his skill set,
right?
And we know his strengths and weaknesses, and honestly, Dave and Christian do so much preparation on the backside to get ready for those fights that we have a pretty good idea of game plan. And I mean, it's a fight, so anything can happen, obviously, but we've been pretty lucky. He's never gotten
the
KO'd yet.
the one so far, I mean, his last Contender Series fight.
That one was terrible.
First round, phenomenal. I mean, that was about, I mean, other than getting the submission, I mean, that was textbook game plan.
Yeah.
Everything down to a T. That dude was just a tough guy. We talked to him in the back. Super cool guy. Everything else, he basically told us, he goes, I was about to tap. It's in the video and comes up. Kudos to him. He says, I made a choice. He goes, I made a choice. Get out or go out.
Wow.
And so he just, at that point, he was caught in the choke. So he's like, I'm just going to grit it through. He goes, I'm either going to go unconscious or I'm going to find my way out.
Wow.
And then I sat there in rounds 2 and 3. And I mean, it was right there in my head that, there's a good chance that he could get knocked out. I mean, the fatigue level that he was in, most people don't know. He had a back injury going into that fight. Normally, on most of Christian's fights, we have our own personal training. Usually, I mean, probably upwards of 30 sessions, maybe 40 sessions. We had probably 2 going into this one. His back was just, it was always bugging him. So I knew his cardio was going to be a major issue, but I mean, how do you throw away that opportunity, when you get a chance of that type?
Right. Right.
So we both said, I mean, this is a shot. I mean, Contender Series is coming up, a phenomenal win could catapult your career. How do we not take that chance, even though we know we're not 100%?
Right.
And
I think what you said there was probably like the number one reason why I love the sport of mixed martial arts so much, about his opponent saying I was going to go out or get out. It's like, I just, the years and talking to people, and you guys can probably go tenfold on it. I am like beyond excited. Just like, I get emotional, very like the men and women who fight and what they do and what they do to their bodies, and their the reason for fighting sometimes is to get out or get their families out, or just doing it to make money, or just they want to be a champion, an avid competitor. It's insane. It's like I said, to this day, and it probably sounds corny, I get so excited.
Yeah.
Phone call, a text, writing something up. We were just at Fights Live this past weekend. And, and I see some of the guys I'm sitting with, and I know they've been through probably maybe more fights than I have, or maybe not. I've been to a lot of fights over the last 2-3 years. And it's the second amateur fight. And I'm like, Christmas morning, I got the Grinch smile. I am so excited to see what's going to happen. And then, I follow their careers and talk to them and see what they're doing and who they're coaching with and who they're working with. It's man, it's the greatest sport in the world.
Yeah. One of my favorite is I was at a underground fight in California. It's legendary by Central California standard now.
This was before it was legal in Cali.
This has at the event fighting. We have Vernon Tiger White from the Lion's Den.
Okay.
Gil Castillo from Cesar Gracie was kind of cutting his teeth to give it a shot. Steve Heath from Cesar Gracie was fighting. We had another guy, Carlton, that was on there. Jerry Bolander was the referee that was basically heading up everything. So I'm sitting there drinking a beer, and the dude sitting next to me, and this is packed. It's standing room only.
Yeah.
And the guy next to me, he goes, "Hey, bro," he goes, "save my chair for me." I'm thinking he's got to go take a piss. 2 fights later, he's in the ring fighting. I'm holding his beer in the stands.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he lost. Yeah. Shortly thereafter, he comes out and he goes, "Hey, man, appreciate it."
That's also the event where Caesar went after that fake black belt.
Yeah.
Oh. So there was a fake black belt there, I guess, that was talking a bunch of shit. And Caesar was cornering Gil, right?
Yeah,
Gil. And the guy was in the other corner. And after the fight, a huge brawl broke out, and Caesar just beelines it for the fake black belt and knocks him out.
Right.
Wow. God, so many.
That was part of the bravado of the day, though. Right. Like I said, that original group. I remember my friends and I used to get together, and we used to say, because I remember my first pay-per-view I bought was $9.99. That was my first pay-per-view I ever purchased for the sport. And I was the guy in my area. If you went to Blockbuster and you went to the special interest section, for those of you listening that don't know, that included basically, that was like Blockbuster's area for the questionable videos. Not porn.
Yeah.
But it was the closest that they had. And it was all just intermixed. So I was the guy that would then just find all of the fight videos, put them together, and sort them all out, and all that stuff.
I'm telling you, it was, I remember walking
like I said, the bravado.
Yeah, like at Blockbuster, it was Tito Ortiz and Ken Shamrock, heated rival, Royal Rumble 1995, and then it was like Miss Candy Sunrise weekend. Like those were the videos that were next to it.
Yes.
Yep.
The good old days.
You're standing in the section that everybody's staring at you, and you're like, no, fight videos. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. I want to see 2 people punch each other.
But the part we loved was every fight that we went to, the after-fight party was at the fight. Nobody really went anywhere. It's like as soon as the fights were over, everybody just stayed, hung out, because there weren't truly fans in the stands. It was everybody there was connected with somebody, friends, family, or training partners.
Right.
And so as soon as the fights were over, you just kind of stayed and hung out.
Yeah.
And that was part that I really loved. And we remember at one point in time that we said the game is going to get to a point where we're not going to have this camaraderie. We're not going to have this access that we have.
Right.
That when the fight's done, that you're just hanging out with everybody. Like we inadvertently, this was Strike Force. We were sitting with Eugene Jackson, his family. So he's fighting on the Strike Force card. We just happened to be sitting with his family in the crowd.
Yeah.
So, and I always like to find everybody I'm sitting around, who are you for?
Sure.
Who are you rooting for? One, I want to make sure I don't say anything stupid, get my ass kicked. But we're finding out, it's like, oh, hey, that's your son. We'll be his fan for this fight.
Right.
We'll cheer with you.
Oh yeah.
Man, it felt way different. I love modern MMA because now you can actually be a professional athlete and do this. A person has the ability now of actually making this their life's work. You couldn't back then. I mean, you were literally fighting for love of fighting, and maybe you could put a couple bucks in your pocket, but it was definitely way different. The mentality of the fighters was different.
Right. It's kind of full circle, I guess, I love, the dinners. I remember it. It was Island Fights. It was Mike Davis's, I think his last or second to last fight up there in Pensacola. And all of us went to go see Aquaman at the movie theater. And
but that one was right about Christmas time, I believe. Not this Christmas, but like just prior to that.
Right. And
a couple people fell out for whatever reason, either not making weight or whatever. Because Christian calls me up. It's the day before the fights.
Yes.
Like, Dad, if I can make weight tonight, I can get a fight. I'm like.
Elvin Brito stepped up. One of Elvin Brito's opponents dropped out, and then Elvin Brito stepped up to fight Mike Davis in the main event. Totally right. It was a chaos card. But the day of, we're watching Aquaman, and it's Pete and John and Chris and Anderson and me, and we're watching Aquaman, and I think like the air condition broke or something happened, and we're having fun. Like the movie was good, by the way, Aquaman. I love the movie, but like just the memories, the camaraderie of each other. There's just nothing like it. I love going to gyms. I love just communicating with the people. There's just nothing like it. I don't think. The football players are, Tom Brady's awesome. He's great. I would love to talk to him, but there's just some reason there's like a pedestal, I feel like, with Tom Brady that I don't feel with Nate Diaz or Alexander Volkanovski. They just seem more of us.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well, like I did this was about a year before we left, or maybe the summer before we left California to come out to Florida. I did a Marcelo Garcia seminar in Santa Cruz, California. And so for us, Santa Cruz was right about 2.5 hours away. If traffic, maybe 3.
Right.
And so I just decided I'm going to get a hotel. It's a 2-day seminar. And so I just, while I'm there, I'm at the seminar, and I just tell the people, I'm like, hey, look, I'm not local. I'm staying in a hotel just down the road. If you guys are going to do something tonight, if you want to throw out an invite, great. If not, I understand. So ended up going out to dinner that night with Marcelo Garcia and like 3 other people.
Yeah.
That's it. That was all of us. So we're sitting in this little restaurant having burritos and tacos, and just shooting the breeze for probably 2 hours. That to me, I remember a little bit about techniques we did at the seminar, but I have a lot more memory of that dinner.
100%.
Just sitting there chilling with everybody. I mean, it was so cool. I mean, such a small group, and to be able to actually learn more about who they are as people, which is what I've always appreciated. I've always loved more. If you took me to an event 20 years ago, I was one of the few people that talking with the referees, I'm talking with the judges, I'm talking with the promoters, the fighters, and everybody else. I spent less time watching the fights and more time talking with the people behind the scenes, just more really enjoying how everything went together. I still love the fights, but that part to me was more interesting. Being in the back, people warming up, helping them warm up, things of that nature. And then they go out to the cage and they come back. That part to me was always much more interesting, that because it's one of those things where like you don't get to see that with Tom Brady.
Right.
When you're watching Tom Brady play, it's all you see is the field time.
Yep.
You don't really get to see, you don't get that access to see him warming up before or to even get a chance to hold mitts for, or play catch with Tom Brady,
yeah.
before his his game. But well, for a lot of fighters, I have, you know.
It's insane.
So now Island Fights got some big stuff. I just saw you guys posted with the Biloxi card that they're doing the Roy Jones boxing, and then doing the crap. What's the name of that organization? Because it's not Island Fights. It's
it's like Icon.
Icon, yes.
Right. Yep. Icon Fighting Federation. It's
man. So two events looks like back to back.
Yep.
Both on Fight Pass.
Both on Fight Pass. There's going to be 2-hour boxing. There's actually going to be an hour amateur show that they're doing up there in Mississippi. There's going to be a lot of Mississippi versus Florida fighters. Empire Fighting is over there in Mississippi. So they're going to have a couple matches there, an hour, kind of, get the ring different, get the UFC Fight Pass, a drink, a rest, and then 2 hours of Icon, their first event. And it's just been so cool. Wow. And I'm super uber lucky to kind of have all these stories and access from hearing about it from months and months ago, and how it just kind of came to be as well. And now, like, in a weird way, it's finally here. If COVID didn't hit, it probably would have been here already, and other events. And it's amazing to see some of the matches being made too, and kind of be, sometimes it's cool that it feels like me, Dean respects my opinion enough to be like, hey, what do you think of this fighter versus this fight? What do you think of the fight? What do you think of these fighters? And because he probably is the busiest guy in the sport. And sometimes with what I do, I get to talk with Ari Melendez, and I get to talk with Chris Mixon, who are just like these amateur, great fighters are about to be pro. And he probably doesn't get that access, or doesn't see, or doesn't know who they are. So he'll ask, are they ready to be pro, or who should they fight, and that kind of thing. So it's been great. But yeah, September 24th, UFC Fight Pass. Cannot wait. I'm so excited.
Yeah, that looks like it's going to be a fantastic card. And I love that the boxing actually is going to get their own slot, because I felt bad for the boxers when Christian was fighting Island Fight. Card was supposed to start with 3 boxing matches, and then go or either boxing or kickboxing, and then go into the MMA card. The guys were back there warming up, and then they're like, somebody comes back and they're like, all right, first match, you're moved to the end. Second fight, you're up.
Yeah.
Then it was like, second fight, you're moved to the end. Third fight, you're up. Then it's like third fight. So now it was like all of those got moved to the end, and they never even got their opportunity to be on Fight Pass because they didn't broadcast that portion.
Right. Right.
So I think it's awesome that that portion of the card gets its own opportunity. So that's going to be really great for those fighters.
Yeah. No, it's going to be awesome. And and Dean's he loves putting people into the UFC. It's kind of like his what he loves to do probably the most. He loves matches. Right. He loves matchmaking fights, but I think he loves right before the UFC, like your son, and like when it was Phil Rose time. Lucas Alexander is another name who's just right there, probably one fight away, and he loves matchmaking. 2 studs that are right there, and with a good performance, and on UFC Fight Pass, they get in. They had a banner year last year. Last night, Impa got on the Contender. Like I said, Blackledge is going to be on in 4 weeks. It's cool. And I
just watched. I forget the fighter's name that dislocated his elbow. Posting during the takedown.
Yeah.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah, that was tough to watch.
So to finish up. So to finish up, do you have any like guests or special guests you got come up that we can look forward to?
Nothing crazy special guest wise. We it happens fast. I know that we got, like I said, I just got done with Justin J. Train Gonzalez, who's the LFA featherweight champion. I think I just got the phone with Alex Perez, who's top 3, top 5 flyweight in the world. He might come on at the end of the week. But like Dean kind of hit it at it, and I'm that guy. I try to stay big things as close to the vest as possible. But it's this. We've had good talks with UFC Fight Pass, and they like what we're doing at Fight Bananas, and they might want to see what we can do on UFC Fight Pass as a show, as a podcast, and see what happens.
Awesome.
So. We're pretty giddy about it. Dean goes, dude, it might happen in 2 days or it might happen in 2 months. It's the fight game. You guys know that. But he goes, they know of us. They like what we do. I think one of the things he said, he goes, they think I'm the guy version of Laura Senko. So I'll take that all day.
Well, I mean, I do appreciate the stuff that you do. I think you guys have one best out there. I enjoy hearing the interviews. They're, your information and the knowledge of the game. You've got some great questions, but at the same time, I also love that it also feels a little bit more personal. There's more connection between you and some of the guests. So, I love hearing. I don't get a chance to. Most of the time, I got to go back and I gotta find them. Either through your Facebook page and click on the links. So I'm usually a little bit behind the times by the time I'm able to listen to it. But I'm a big fan of Fight Bananas. So definitely I'm looking forward to the next stuff you got coming up.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Like,
if you want to go ahead and kind of let the listeners know how they can listen to your podcast. How they can check out what you do.
Oh yeah, definitely. And what I was saying is, I vice versa. I love your guys' podcast. I remember, I think it was episode 5 or 3 when you guys were just starting. I think you guys were talking about the name or, hey, what is it going to be? Submission Collision. We were talking about that. Same thing. Every time I'm in long car rides, love listening to you guys. It just, you guys definitely have a great, just conversation. It never feels like a Q&A. It never feels like I'm being talked to. It's just this, I feel like I'm a secret guest, listening to you guys. So I love it as well. But yeah, awesome. We're Fight Bananas. We're pretty big on iHeartRadio. For some reason, iHeartRadio, like a year and a half ago, same thing, heard what we were doing, saw what we were doing. And I don't even know how. I don't know how a lot of the behind the computer stuff works. But like they promoted our shows on like their app, right? Or their platform.
Nice. Wow.
And, back in the day, like, I used to, hate throwing around numbers, but I used to get 50 or 100 or, something downloads. I'd be like, well, that is awesome. That's incredible. I'm so excited. But then like iHeart pushed us and it's like, a 500 became 1,000, became multiple thousand. And I'm like, wait, I just put this episode out on Tuesday and 7,640 people just downloaded. It blows my mind still to this day. It's like, it's incredible. And iHeartRadio, Fight Bananas, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Fight Bananas. We're really trying to push the YouTube stream. You can make money via YouTube. So we're trying to do that. Like I said, I definitely am doing more of this and less of what I used to do. And of course that takes money. Those things in the mail keep on coming through and wanting money from us. And those kids keep on wanting food at night every night. Yeah. So I got to make money somehow. So YouTube definitely helps. And, I'm David VanAuken. I'm on all social media platforms, Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all that. And I'm easy to find, easy to talk to. Anyone can ever DM me, text me. I love getting new ideas of shows or even with Justin, someone out of his camp, not even Justin, goes, dude, Justin's a great communicator, would love to be on the show. He kind of shy. He doesn't want to ask us in a way, he goes, he would love to be on it. I'm like, sounds good. And literally got him on, so definitely open. And like I said, I'll turn down UFC fighters all the time for Melissa Young, and definitely just I love the regional, love the amateur/pro, love Jessica Borga. I love our Florida nest of fighters, so I'm super pumped.
Yeah. Well, awesome, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
I'm on my lunch break. I gotta get back to my other job. Awesome, man. Appreciate talking with you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Appreciate you.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Later. Thank you.